Hello, I'm Joel Deering with the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. We are speaking one-on-one today with members of the class for 2016. This is Volleyball in Perspective. I'm joined by Misty Treanor of the United States. Misty, welcome.
Thank you.
You are being inducted as one of the most recognizable beach players in the history of the sport. You showed great promise very early, including your Long Beach State indoor career, twice winning AVCA Player of the Year honors, including 1998 when you led your team to an undefeated season as NCAA champions, and you also won the 1997-98 Honda Broderick Cup as the best female collegiate athlete across all sports. You joined the USA national indoor team following college, but rather quickly decided to set your sights on the beach game. And the rest is, as they say, history. You and your partner, Holly McPeaks, experienced FIVB success with 3 titles and 4 silver medals heading into the Sydney Games, where you finished 5th, and then your well-chronicled partnership with Kerry Walsh Jennings emerged, leading to an unprecedented 3 straight gold medals, with you being named as outstanding player in both 2004 and 2008 in the Olympic Games. Your FIVB success is equally impressive, with multiple awards in each of the following categories: Best Offensive Player, Best Defensive Player, Most Outstanding Player, and Sports Person of the Year. And we haven't even mentioned the AVP Tour. 93 podiums in 100 events, 69 titles, and a legendary career that ended with you at that time holding records for most tournament wins, career earnings, and international titles. We should start at the beginning. How did this all happen, and who were the key people along the way?
Well, I'm thankful it happened. I never know the records or anything. It's just a game I love playing and a sport that I love to help grow. So it's interesting when, you hear all the things you've accomplished. But I started probably from the time I could walk. Both my parents played. My mom was a tennis player. UCLA, met my dad. He was a 68 indoor Olympian. They met the beach at Santa Monica, and mom cut the volleyball bug, so I grew up down there, had a ball since the time I could walk. My first volleyball was a balloon over the coffee table of our small apartment. And now I have a 2-year-old, and so we got her a little inflatable, and she's learning the game. But it started with just the joy of the balloon, and then it expanded, and anytime I was, away from school or off the soccer field or the tennis court, we were down at the beach. So really my parents were the ones that got me involved, and growing up in an environment like Santa Monica Pier, there's a lot of characters down there, but Karch Karai was a staple down there, Liz Massakayan, and just a bunch of other players I was surrounded by. And I know when my parents were busy playing their games, anybody that just wanted to bump the ball, I was eager. But that's kind of where that journey started. But I played so many different sports, and I feel that I'm a big advocate for kids playing as many sports as possible to help develop their skills and their motor skills. But I did play club volleyball, and back then when I started club, I was 10 years old, which I was really too young to try out, because back in our time it was 14 and under, 16 and under, and 18 and under. We didn't have a lighter ball. We didn't have a shorter net. So I was 10 years old, and I remember my first club tryout. They told my parents, well, she's too young, she probably won't make the team. And I ended up making the team. All I could do was underhand serve, or toss the ball up and hit it with my fist as hard as I could. Knee pads didn't fit, bikers didn't fit. And so I was 10 years old playing with 14-year-olds, and that's kind of a jump now as a parent, you realize. And that's how I started club. And then from that point on, I always played up at age division. I played for many clubs throughout that journey, and then I went on. I played through high school. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, but played volleyball all through high school. Got recruited as an outside hitter for Long Beach State, and actually being inducted with Danielle is a great honor, because she was a player I would see at Long Beach State volleyball camps, and got to watch her play. So I was recruited as an outside hitter, went to Long Beach State, had a great coach, Debbie Green, and obviously Brian Gimolero, and they surrounded themselves with such a great staff that was my first stint at setting. So I thought I'd be playing indoor a lot longer than going to the beach game. Played all 4 years college as a setter, went to the national team summer of my, in between my junior and senior year, and then went full-time with the national team after I left college in '98, and decided after Pan American Games in '99 that between the politics and just getting burnout of going year-round indoor, that I needed to make a switch before that fire died inside, and Holly Peak called. I made the switch to beach, and that's kind of where the story goes.
Let's just go back a little bit. So then when did competition on the beach start for you? In that, what you would look back and say, yeah, when I really started kind of competing on the beach.
So I actually was 8 years old when I played in my first tournament with my dad. We played co-ed format. He stuck me up at the net, and all I could do was bump the ball. He says I still owe him for a tournament fee, which I don't know, and hopefully it's not like taxes where it just keeps getting, interest if you don't pay. But it's kind of funny now because he'll be 75, and if we were to play at the beach, I need a new knee now, just life of volleyball, right? Sure. Your body starts to fall apart. I would probably roll reverse. I'd be like, Dad, you're at the net, and I will play most of the court. But I was 8 years old when I played in my first beach tournament. And then anytime I had summers off, we weren't lucky enough to have the junior circuit that they do now. So 12 years old, if you play in a tournament or a B tournament, you're playing against grown women. Sure. So I felt, though, that helped me become the player I developed into, was you have to get your nose rubbed in it, and you have to learn. And I think you can learn from everyone. So the old ladies that used to bump it over on one, you're gonna get better chasing that ball around the more you're out there, and the more competition you have.
What part of indoor volleyball do you look back and realize that you really enjoyed as compared to being a duo on the sand?
I have to say, I think the largeness of the team and the unit is different. Obviously, with having two people, the communication's a little easier. You know each other's goals. Where with the larger team, and I heard Danielle talking about it earlier, is you have to learn to communicate with so many different people, and your goal may not be the same as number 13 or 14. And in order to be good, you have to make sure that you're taking everybody on that journey. And so I miss the largeness, of the group. But also, I think for me, learning the setting, the game, I feel like the setters are the brains behind the operation, and it's a cat and mouse game. And I really learned to embrace that position and really love the art of setting. And because of the rule changes now, I feel like that is becoming a lost art amongst all the players. And I really loved the time I spent with Debbie in college learning that position. It was a struggle, it was hard, but it's a skill now that I have that not many people are
You
able
mentioned
to develop.
goals. I actually had a question here. How many teams at all levels start preseason, do their team goals, and it starts with undefeated NCAA champions, right? And then a week into it, that one gets crossed off. But you lived that. So what does it take to be an undefeated NCAA champion? We
had a great group, and I loved my team in college, and I think that was one of the aspects when I went to the national team I found hard to grab. And I played with Stacy Secor, I played with Danielle on the national team, and a lot of great players from all over the nation in Colorado Springs. But there's nothing like the sense of when you're a freshman coming in with 4 other players, and you develop such a tight-knit family that it's hard when you go through experiences with that group that we did in college. It's hard to replicate it. And I think that was one of the things I found. I was like, I'll never be a part of a team like that again. And no matter who you throw on the court, there's nothing like those 13 or 14 players. But there was actually 5 of us that came in as freshmen. It was Jessica Alvarado, Veronica Walls, Benaishi Dillard, Christy Karoff, and myself. And by our junior year, we had lost in semifinals of NC2A, and right after that, we all wanted to set our goals for '98 because we were like, we don't want to feel like this again, and we have the team that we can do it. And if we set our goals now and head into summer and spring, knowing what our goal is for 98, we can do this. And actually everybody went around and mentioned what their goals in, and Jessica Alvarado was the one, well, why would we just settle for winning? Why wouldn't we just become undefeated? And we all jumped aboard. And you know, that's what it takes, is you have to believe in the process and you have to believe in something. And she kind of opened our minds, and we were like, yeah, why not? Why can't we do that? So she was kind of the catalyst. But no, you're right. When you make goals, it's very easy to be like, okay, I failed and that didn't come about. But that's why I think it's so important, and I tell the kids now, set little goals along the way so that you're not so focused on the big goal, and if that one falls short, you focus on the little goals, and those add up to accomplishing the bigger ones.
Talk about the years with Holly McPeak, both in terms of, you know, that partnership and the success you started having, but then when you look back now, how was that significant in all the success you had following?
Well, she does a lot of commentating now, and I think I gave her, she has to probably get her hair done more than she wants, because I'm probably the one that gave her the most gray hair, the one partner that gave her the most gray hair. No, you know, it's very stressful now knowing how cutthroat beach volleyball can be. And when Holly took her chance on a rookie coming out, we had, normally the process is a 2-year process for qualification, and Jenny and Annette were one of the top beach teams heading into Sydney, and then you had Liz Massakine and Elaine Youngs, which is a dynamic duo, and you had Barbara Fontaine, I think she was playing with Lisa Arce at the time. Well, here's Holly taking a rookie. We're already down a year, and now we have about 9 tournaments to make up the difference to get enough points to qualify, and we ended up beating Elaine Youngs and Liz Massakine in China, the very last event to qualify, and I'm not sure, maybe the points could have been a 5-point difference. I had torn ab muscles, couldn't put the ball over, and you know, for rookie year, we couldn't get less than a third at every tournament. There was actually a Chicago event that counted double points, and we actually beat Australia in that tournament, so that helped post, but push us to the, you know, top. But you know, I felt like my head was being held underwater a little bit, because you have no room for failure. And I think in order to grow as an athlete, you have to go through the trials and tribulations in order to learn from experience. But again, I couldn't have chosen my path, you know, any differently. I couldn't have chosen a better partner to learn from. As a veteran, she's a hard worker, very organized, very detailed, and I think I needed that my first year out. There was, though, like I said, giving her gray hair, poor Holly, but Rosarito, we were playing in the finals. Adriana Shelder was always the team we faced, and we ended up playing them in Athens, Carrie and I, for the gold medal, but she couldn't find me, and I was in the back alley getting my hair braided in Rosarito. You know, so little Ricky mistakes like that, but having a partner like Holly for the first year, I mean, I can't thank her enough for taking that risk, but also what a special opportunity for somebody fresh in the sport to have.
So now, talk about how the partnership with Carrie formed, and also what you see, what you saw and what you see as her strengths, and really what impressed you the most about her in those early years of playing together.
So in Sydney, Holly and I came up short. We got a 5th, and like I said, you know, it felt like that whole year my head was being held underwater, and I wanted to learn the game, be able to slow down, take a step back, learn the game at a slower pace, because I really am, even though I've been out on the beach since I was 8 and playing the sport, everything is relatively new. And Carrie, our parents had met at a family center in Sydney, and she was feeling a little burnt out of the indoor game, and I don't think she wanted to travel overseas professionally. She had great skills all around, great all-around player indoor, and we said, well, why don't you just come and try the beach, and if you like it, great. If you don't, at least you gave it a shot. So I know sometimes people call it a tryout. It wasn't a tryout. It's just you hate to lose people that are great at the sport just because, you know, there's no opportunity for them. So we wanted to just broaden her horizons. So she came out and she caught on. She thought she was bad the first day, but she was fine, you know. Our sport isn't any different than the indoor game. It's the same skills. The timing is a little different, and I think that's where people get discouraged, is you get a lot of great indoor players that come out and they're not good right away. Well, nobody's ever, even indoor, you're not great right away. You have to work, you know, everybody has to work. So she put in the work, and again, her mindset is, even now, it's go, 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 you know. She won't settle, so that's a great attribute to have. And she wants to be the best. And she wasn't afraid to, you know, learn, and obviously she doesn't like to make too many mistakes, but it happens. But she has that fire that, you know, you need to be the best. And we helped balance each other out. If, you know, you watch our matches, she's more the boisterous, loud, emotional one, and I'm more the stoic kind of. You can't figure out what's going on. I have the poker face. Yeah. And so we help, you know, I'm more the calm, she's more the fire, and we helped, you know, that was the great thing about our partnership, was we helped balance each other out.
You had a lot of them, but do you have a single favorite Olympic memory?
I mean, it's tough. Obviously, every time you win, it's going to be a good memory. Listening to your national anthem, there's nothing better than hearing that on the podium, and you kind of block out the crowd, and it's just you and your teammate on the podium. I think one of my favorite, well, there's many. I mean, you get to see different athletes and trying to guess what sport they play. But I think one of my most favorite memories, besides having my family with me, is always marching behind our flag at opening ceremonies, because it signifies like the time is now, and the energy starts building, and you know, you've worked so hard, and that signifies like it's finally here. So I think the roar of the crowd and the energy that you feel from walking behind your flag, and you stand up so straight, and you're just so proud of.
For sure. Coaches that you had, who has had a significant impact as a coach?
Actually everyone. And now that I'm coaching, I tell the kids, you know, you may not agree with every coach you have, but there's definitely something you can learn from each person. And I feel that everybody that I've come in contact throughout the sport has impacted me in a different way. Obviously, both my parents and my dad, now that my mom is no longer with us, obviously my dad's the most critical coach I've had, even now. But now he's my assistant at coach. So
I was going to ask you about that.
Both Debbie and Brian had a great impact on me indoor. I wouldn't have been the setter I was, or probably even been a setter, had it not been for Debbie and all, you know, her taking the time to teach me. All my club coaches, and I'm going to name them all in my talk, but all my different club coaches, national team coaches. So, like I said, I've learned, I've taken from everyone to add to my book, and, you know, everybody's so special. And if you can remember their names and remember things, then they definitely had an impact on you.
Can you recognize the incredible impact you have had on girls and women in sport, and how do you view that?
It's funny because it's not a job description when you go to career day, or when, you know, people ask you when you're a little kid, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? What is it? Everybody wants to be a doctor or a lawyer. Nobody's like, oh, I want to be a role model. Nobody looks at that as a job, but it is. And I think, you know, we start to lose that a little bit with everything going on in the media, but I know I've cherished that, and it's helped me become a better person, and it's nice to help inspire others. And so I really, I'm honored and thrilled that I'm able to be that for little girls, and even there's some boys, you know.
No, absolutely.
But I'm honored because, you know, we all had role models growing up, and even though you might not have walked up to them and opened your jaw and been like, you know, you idolized people, and it's just nice to give people hope, I guess.
Sure.
Hope and
Sure.
but also too to see the sport grow like it has. I would like to say that Carrie and I had a big hand in that. Also, the media definitely helped, but it's given especially women another avenue, even collegiately. But I don't think of it as a job because it's something that I just enjoyed doing and loved.
Who were some of the most impressive and challenging opponents you had to go up against?
Well, when I formed my partnership with Holly, I know I wanted to be, Emmanuel is somebody that I wanted to copy on the beach and Karch, but I tried to emulate Adriana and Shelda because I tried to pick two players that height-wise I was the same and that I wanted to be like. And so Adriana and Shelda, and they were one of our toughest competitors, even when Carrie and I were together. They weren't the tallest, but they had all the skills and the trickery that you needed, and they were just so consistent. And there was that aura about them when you stepped on the court. But we got them in Athens.
Yes, you did.
But then, all the Brazilians are so tough. Even we had the nemesis of Juliana and Larissa. And, had Juliana not gotten hurt, we might have seen them in Beijing. But Juliana got hurt, so Larissa teamed up with Ana Paula. But then the U.S. beat Juliana and Larissa in a tight match in London, so we ended up facing the other U.S. team. But Brazil has always been our toughest competitors, just because they start, with soccer, and they start learning sports at such an early age that their all-around skills are just tremendous. And so I would say they're one of our...
Volleyball folks absolutely saw you as a complete player, but your awards themselves say you were a complete player. How do you describe yourself as a player and as a competitor?
I always strive to become better. I would like to say I'm a student of the game, and I think in order to be the best, you have to learn to study your opponents, study what other people are doing, and be okay to know that you don't have all the tools, but that you want to work on them. The accolades are nice, again, but that's not why I compete or why I do it. I love interacting with the fans. I love the feeling of going out there and accomplishing, when you put so much time into practice and you do it in a game, that's just as satisfying. But it's been just a great career to be able to travel the world. It's opened my eyes to different places that I would like to travel to later, and I've met so many different people. I have friends in Norway and China, and just the many different faces and of people that you meet. But also too, you just by traveling, you do realize how lucky we are to be living where we are and the opportunities that we have, because not everybody has the same opportunities. But yeah, as far as awards, that's why I'm like, oh, I guess that's the number. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to rattle.
We like reminding you of it. So 2 more questions. The first one, you've turned a page to some degree, and you're a coach. You've got Debbie Green and your dad as your assistant. So talk about that a little bit. What are those practice planning sessions like? I'd like to sit on one of those. And how do you describe yourself as a coach?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I got my master's degree after I got hurt on that show, Dancing with the Stars. I ruptured my Achilles tendon, and our careers can't last forever, and I've always wanted to follow my mom's footsteps with getting my master's degree. So I got my master's degree in coaching and athletic administration, and everybody thought, oh, go to the D1 level, but now with a family, we have a 2-year-old, my husband Matt and I have a 2-year-old Malia, and I know how much time Debbie sacrificed being away from her family, recruiting and being gone on the weekends. But selfishly, I'm excited that she did that. And so I just coached 1 season at USC, and I was like, Division I don't think is for me right now. And the junior college or community college position opened up at Long Beach City, which is about 7 minutes from where we live. And both my parents had coached at Santa Monica City, so I grew up in that environment. And I think with a family, and it's one of the greatest jobs. So I'm the director of volleyball operations there, plus to the role of being able to help kids that just need that are rough around the edges or just need a little extra time, helping them move on. I don't think there's anything more rewarding than getting these players. I don't want to say that they're castaways, but just don't know what they're doing. So I look at it more as a mentor. So for me, coaching, I feel like I'm more of a mentor than a coach, but I do have Debbie on staff. She's a volunteer. I stole my dad from another junior college, so he is a volunteer. And then I have another assistant, Darren Ong and Tyler Jackson. So it's just kind of funny because now when we do road trips, I'm the one driving, Debbie's not the one driving. But we have many laughs during practice. And for us, it's very important with our practice plans. We want to get back to teaching the whole game to these kids because I know there's the libero position. Setters are the only ones taught to set. We make everybody do every skill because it's very important when they move on that they are well versed in the sport and the game of volleyball. We go from basics, fundamentals to we'll go to games. Some of the players are like, don't we ever get to play, coach? It's like, the time will come, But no, I have a great staff. So practice plans kind of, sometimes we're organized, sometimes we're not, but we have a great time with the kids. And
well, we want to wish you well in that next part of your career. So last question, this honor, how do you feel about being inducted into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame?
It's kind of funny because I'm only 39 and I'm like, isn't this for older people? But no. No, it's a tremendous honor, and especially the birthplace being here. I'm very fortunate enough for Mininet, got invented, and that it became volleyball. But, it's just a testament to you put in so many years of hard work, so many, you sweat so much, you tears, you go through the trials and tribulations, you sacrifice time from family. But now I'll be enshrined forever with amazing players, not only in the class of 2016, but before. And it's a tremendous honor to have my family here, and also Debbie Green, who was the class of 1995. I had to remind her, though. I was like, I was a senior in high school. But no, I don't think there's anything better. I can say the Olympics would be the highlight or the pinnacle of our volleyball, and this definitely, I think, supersedes that or and like I said, to be enshrined forever now in the Volleyball Hall of Fame, I just thank everybody that has ever come to our matches, sponsored me, had input. So it really took everyone from the time I stepped on the court and had that first balloon till now, and I'm still learning,
Well, we want to congratulate you. We've been speaking with International Volleyball Hall of Fame class of 2016 honoree Misty May Treanor. This is Volleyball in Perspective. I'm your host, Joel Deering. Thank you for watching.